Hey girl, so glad that you tuned in. My name is Bethany and this is the Make Up Your Mind channel. You're listening to episode number 9. Whether you're actually putting on your makeup, maybe you're getting ready for school at home or work, or maybe you're in the coffee drive-thru getting caffeinated for the day, wherever life finds you today, I hope that you know and remember that there are people that are for you, cheering you on to succeed. Today, I hope I can be one of those people that's standing on the sideline of your life, reminding you to make up your mind all day long about the small decisions that add up to big decisions later on. Today, we are in our romantic relationship series, and we're on our 3rd episode. Today's title is called Red Flags. So let's get to it. Girl, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. Maybe you're watching this on IGTV. But if you don't follow me on Instagram, I've been doing some talks about my Ipsy subscription and the things that I've been getting in that Ipsy subscription. One of the fun things I just got is a Pixie by Pixie Eyeliner. It's an eye pencil, okay? I tend to use liquid eyeliner most of the time. Most of the time, I like that winged look. If I'm going to do eyeliner, that's usually what I do. But this is the first one that I have gotten, and I don't usually do a pencil because I don't like to sharpen it. I am just that lazy. And I actually don't even know where my sharpener is. So at this point in time, I actually have to go buy one. But what I can tell you, because it came sharpened, thank the Lord, I tried it and I actually really like it. Super creamy and it blends really well. And it kind of gives a more natural eyeliner look instead of that sharp, hard line that the liquid stuff does. And so if you're looking for a softer eyeliner, I would definitely recommend this one. It goes on super smoothly. You don't have to stab yourself. I remember using eye pencils in the past and it grabs really hard. And this one is very smooth as it goes on. So if you're looking for an eyeliner, it's a great one. And you can get the Pixie line at Target, which is the best thing ever. Love Target. So go check it out. So let's just get to this. This is the real stuff of the episode. Red flags. What do I mean by red flags? These are things that will give us clues that maybe this guy that we're interested in is maybe not healthy, or maybe that we're not ready for a relationship, or just any red flags, any things that should catch our attention to say, maybe we should slow the roll down in this relationship. I just want to let you know, I am not trying to set myself up right now as an expert on relationships because that is not at all true. All of this wisdom that I'm planning to give you either comes from my life experience or one of my close friends. And I'm hoping that as I share this, I can teach you things that hopefully you won't have to learn in such a hard way as me or some of my girlfriends. Every relationship is going to look different. And so some of these things you might be able to take little parts of. Maybe you can't apply the whole concept, but I would just want to challenge you. Look at your relationship or your potential relationship, and let's glean from some of these lessons learned. I'm just going to go ahead and head through this episode by listing off different red flags. I did a little survey of some of my friends and I asked them, hey, what are some red flags that you've experienced in relationships? And so they gave me a list, and I'm just going to head through the episode and list some of these things off. So if you're dating, maybe you're starting a relationship, maybe you've been in a relationship for a long time, maybe you're even married. I don't know if these will apply to marriage, but apply these as you can to your given situation. I already talked about the first one, the first red flag being no friends. I talked about this in our last episode titled The DTR. So if you missed that episode, head back to it and go ahead and listen to it there. I'm just going to quickly skim over this topic. But if the guy that you're interested in has no friends, that can be a red flag. Friends are super important in our lives to help us develop the skills that are needed to sustain romantic relationships. Skills like faithfulness, trust, honesty, truthfulness, having fun, patience, and vulnerability. And like I said in the prior episode as well, you should have friends too. because it's super important that we don't go through life continually going through friends, and anytime there gets to be drama or things get too hard, we just cut people out of our lives. Talked about it in the prior episode. It's actually just not healthy. It's not a good way of doing relationships, and it's going to translate into your romantic relationships. If you find yourself only able to sustain friendships for a couple months, that might be an indicator of a couple things. One, our culture around us isn't very good at friendships either. So the girls that you're trying to be friends with, they might just be just as bad as you. The other thing that it can point to is that maybe you're not willing to work through the drama that can happen with friendships, and you'd rather just cut it off. It's a pretty necessary skill to be able to work through conflict in relationships. And here's another promo for one of the other episodes I did. Go check out Conflict in Relationships. It's a great episode that teaches us how to continue to move through our friendships with conflict and how to have better conversations in that way. Now, I know sometimes he might have no friends because there might be other circumstances involved. Maybe he just moved to a new town and he has no friends. Maybe they just don't click together with the things that they like to do. Maybe you go to a school full of football players and he's more on the artistic side of the spectrum. Who knows? There can be lots of reasons for why he may or may not have a lot of friends, but I'm just telling you, you should look at that. Figure out why, as a whole, he doesn't have a lot of friends and analyze that. Make sure it's looked at, because in the end, it will end up translating to your relationship. The second red flag that I'm going to talk about is maybe your desire to keep your relationship a secret. Have you ever been there wanting to keep things under wraps or on the DL? We have to look at why that is. What is our reasoning? Are your friends going to disagree with you dating him? Is your family? I've been there. I actually dated a guy. This is personal experience for me right now. I dated a guy for a very long time, and I had several friends and several family members mention that they were not necessarily supportive of this relationship. And it was really hard for me to hear. I actually started to pull back and push people away during my relationship with this guy. And that wasn't healthy either, because I didn't have the people that were in my corner, my friends and my family, having the ability to speak into my relationship when I really did need it. And it went bad. It went south. It was not good. They were right. I was wrong. Thankfully, all of my friends and my family stuck it out with me in relationship through that time. They still had my back, even though I was dating a guy that they thought was going to end up hurting me, which he did. If the people in your life, like your friends and your family, actually pipe up about your relationship, chances are they've been trying to build up the courage to do that for quite a long time. You should probably listen to them. They don't have what I like to call the rose-colored glasses on. The rose-colored glasses are what we put on when we have a new relationship, where all we see is the good stuff. All we see is what we want to see. We don't see the things that are actually red flags in the relationship. And the people around us, our friends and our family, if they are for us truly, which I hope that they are, if they see things going on, chances are we're not going to be seeing those things because we have the rose-colored glasses on. So listen to your friends and family. If you're wanting to keep your relationship on the DL, chances are that you know that they're probably not going to be approving of him. Another reason you could be wanting to keep it on the DL or keep it a secret is that you're actually not allowed to date. I know I do have some younger girls listening, and if that's the case, if your parents have set out boundaries for you, I don't really have a whole lot to say to you on this. I think that you should obey your parents. The Bible says, obey your father and mother, and you will live long in the land. It's very important that we honor our parents' decision. And if you are being sneaky and going around what they've asked of you, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of blessing in that for you. This is going to be a whole other episode, but I just want to challenge you to be thankful that they have set boundaries for you. I know a lot of girls personally who wish their parents had set boundaries for them, because it actually shows that your parent cares about you and loves you enough to say, hey, I want to protect you. I want to make sure that you are at a good age to start dating where you're actually going to be having full judgment and not going to be hurt. So if your parents set up boundaries for you, just abide by them. Like, they care about you. That's what that's saying. Read between the lines. I know it can be irritating. I know it can be frustrating, but read between the lines and go, actually, this is my parent loving me. The third and final red flag that I'm going to be talking about today, don't worry, we're going to have another episode of red flags, I'm pretty sure, because there's so many more to talk about. But the third and final red flag that I'm going to talk about today is he only wants to talk to you over social media and only at 11 p.m. at night. Let me tell you, ladies, if he is chatting with you and he is asking for you to send him photos over Snapchat or Messenger and it's late at night, it doesn't even have to be late at night. Maybe he's just asking you to send inappropriate photos or talking to you about inappropriate things. Run away. Do not keep talking to him. You don't need to put yourself through that. Go back and listen to the Respect Yourself episode and remember that you are worthy of respect and dignity. Girl, you do not need to find your worth and your value in that. I just want to remind you. If he's asking you for nudes or anything similar, he is not respecting you. All he's in it for is his own self-gratification. He's actually not treating you with value or respect or showing you worth. He might say nice things to you, but those are not the things that will ultimately satisfy that deep need and that deep longing that you have in your heart to be filled. It will not satisfy. Those things that he says, the nice things, those will pass away in the cold light of day because there really was no care for you in them. This is going to be one of the other topics that I talk about in the coming episodes. But even if you have been dating for a long amount of time, this guy, or if you're just brand new, if he is going to be pushing your boundaries, it's not going to be worth it for you. It's time for you to have that conversation because let me just let you know, love doesn't push boundaries. We don't need to go into all of the details here in this episode. If you want to know more, you can DM me. But I had a previous relationship that really did push my boundaries of where I wanted to go. And when I started dating Dionys, there was an instance where he actually pushed my boundaries as well and kind of made me feel really uncomfortable because of where I had been in past relationships where I felt very violated. And when that happened, he experienced a lot of pushback from me because I was suddenly super fearful that he was going to be the same way. And once he realized that he had not respected me and not respected my boundaries, he apologized. He felt horrible. And he came to me in respect and love. And he said, hey, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to push boundaries and make you afraid. And I didn't treat you with respect. And so once he did that, he actually also took it a step further and he went to my dad and he actually told my dad that he had pushed my boundaries. And I thought my dad was going to murder him, literally in cold blood. But he didn't, thank the Lord, because he would have ended up murdering my husband. But I respected Dionys so much for doing that he gained back all of my trust. From that time, Dionys has respected me, honored me, treasured me, cared for me. And I just want to say, ladies, find yourself a man who will care for you, who cares more for you and your boundaries and your feelings than he cares for even his own sexual desires and urges. Because when you do, you will forever feel safe and protected, cared for, and loved. And isn't that our ultimate desire, that we would be protected and cared for? I know this is a kind of a hard episode and some of the things that I might be saying might have kind of triggered you or made you feel like defensive in some way. Maybe you've been there in some of these scenarios that I've discussed. But remember, this isn't said to bring condemnation or guilt. This isn't said to make you feel all squirmy inside and want to just hit stop and never come back to this podcast. This is meant to say that you are valuable. And I want to be able to be a voice in your life that says, remember that, remember your value, remember your worth. It's meant to shed light on some of the unhealthy things that we walk through in our relationships and remind you that there is good. If you felt uncomfortable today, don't turn it off. Don't stop listening. Don't feel judged because you're not. Keep listening. Truth sometimes hurts, but it also brings healing if you're willing to step into it. My heart for you is that there would be healing and that you would find health in your romantic relationships and that you would avoid some of the mistakes that me and others that I know have made. I'm just going to close with this verse, and it's out of 1 Corinthians 7. This is actually a chapter on marriage. And so if you're curious, you'll probably hear me refer to this chapter many times throughout this podcast. So if you're curious, go have a look and read it yourself, and you'll hear me discussing it more and more in the coming days. This is 1 Corinthians 7:17. And don't be wishing that you were someplace else or with someone else. Where you are right now is God's place for you. Live and obey and love and believe right there. God and not your marital status, and I will insert here, not your relationship status, defines your life. God, not your relationship status, defines your life. So good. Girl, if you have questions at all about today's episode, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. I would love to chat with you more about what's going on in your life. Girl, next week, join me as we go over another episode of some more red flags that we might encounter in relationships. For now, remember, you can do this. God is with you today. I'm for you, and I know there are other people in your life that are for you as well. Remember that you are valuable, you are loved, you are seen, and you are known. Girl, I wish I could look you in the face and tell you that today. But for now, see you on the socials and check you later.